Guys, I think I just found the best way to play Tearlament post-ban list. What's going on, YouTube? Super Insane 18 here, and I am incredibly hyped. You guys have no idea because I get to revive one of, if not my absolute favorite engine in the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was racking my brain on how to continue playing Tearlament post the February 2023 ban list, and I think I've actually come up with it. You guys might think it's copium, but wait till the end because there's going to be a combo, and you guys are going to think it's absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and jump on into it because I am over the moon to show this to you guys. Now, once I actually figured this out, I was very hesitant to make a video on it because we have a 3v3 YCS coming up in about a week and a half, but I mean, I was just too excited and I can't hold out on you guys. This is absolutely crazy, so let's go ahead and show you what it is. So we are now, unfortunately, down to one of each of the fusion names thanks to the ban list. We have Tearlaments Merly, Tearlaments Havnus, and Tearlaments Shiren all at one. Kind of sucks, but it's not really that big of a hit when you see the kind of incredible boards that this variant is going to make. We are playing 2 copies of Rhinoheart. I'm not playing 3 because there's actually a much better normal summon in the deck, so I don't think that you have to max out on this. Usually you're going to mill it and reborn it off of its effect, so there's that. We are playing 3 copies of the Tearlaments Kashtiria. Unfortunately, I'm still looking for my 3rd, so we do have to proxy this one here. But this is an incredible way to continue playing on turn 0 if you lose the dice roll. You're able to mill during your opponent's turn, and depending on what you mill, you might be able to get in there. But now onto the best normal summon of the deck. We are playing 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. Now this is incredibly important because you can use this to send your millers and get started, which is just, I mean, incredible in and of itself now that all of the millers are down to 1 as well, all of the Ishizu cards. So having the Diviner for the just utility that it adds is absolutely crucial. Then we are playing the 1 Agito and the 1 Kelbeck. These are our millers, as well as the 1 Madura and the 1 Keldo. These are the shufflers. They did just get hit to 1, and for very good reason. These cards were very impressive, but I mean, once you see that combo at the end, I promise you guys it's going to be absolutely crazy. We are playing a small Shadal package with 1 Squamata and 1 Beast. This is just utility to not only let us make a Winda, but we can also get a draw off the Beast, which will add consistency as well. And then we also have 3 copies of King of the Swamp. This is absolutely mandatory now because with Kit Kalos banned, it is impossible to make Roll Kalos unless you have something that can substitute as the fusion material, which King of the Swamp does. Not only that, King of the Swamp is also a level 3 Aqua, and you can discard it to search a copy of Polymerization, which also kind of lets you get in there if you need to. So yeah, being able to put this into the graveyard to act as any name for a fusion really lets you get into places you shouldn't really be able to get into. And now guys, for the absolute hype, this is the part that I have been waiting to show you guys. My absolute favorite engine in the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! We are playing 3 copies of Fluffle Bear and 2 copies of Fluffle Wings. Now, for those of you that don't know, what Fluffle Bear does is you can discard it from your hand to set a copy of Toy Vendor from your deck to the field, and Toy Vendor, you discard a card from your hand as cost to draw a card from your deck and reveal it. If it is anything other than a Fluffle, you discard it for effect. If it is a Fluffle, you could special summon any monster from your hand. It does not have to be the Fluffle that you revealed. So that means that you are able to get all of your Tearlament effects off of it as well. Not to mention, if you do something like open one of your Agitos or your Keldos, you can go ahead and pitch that off the Toy Vendor, so then you get to draw, reveal, discard, mill 5, depending on what you discarded, depending on what you mill. Like, it just gets you in there. I really make sure you stay until the end. I promise you guys this combo is well worth the wait. But then we're playing 2 Wings because it's a little bit of a brick, but you do want to have it in the graveyard because this is what turns it into an incredible draw engine. What Wings does is as long as you have Toy Vendor on the field, you can banish itself as well as another Fluffle from your graveyard, and what that does is it lets you draw a card. Then, if you control the Toy Vendor, you can destroy the Toy Vendor to draw a second card, and when Toy Vendor is sent to the graveyard, it searches for a Fluffle, meaning that you can get another bear to do the exact same thing on the next turn. That's it for the monsters. Onto the spells. We have a couple of one-ofs. We are playing Foolish Burial. This is more important now than ever before. We are playing the 1 copy of Polymerization to search off King of the Swamp, and the 1 Terraforming to make sure that we can get our way into our field spell. We are now playing 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. This pairs really, really well with the new Tearlaments Kashtiria because what you can do is you can go ahead and Foolish Burial out the Sullik. The Sullik will then be able to search a Tearlaments monster, either searching the Kashtiria or if you don't need it, if you want like your Rhino or your Shiren or whatever. But then when the Sullik is in the graveyard, you can banish it to summon the Tearlaments Kashtiria, and that will let you mill 3, so it kind of just gets you, it gets the ball rolling in there. We are playing 2 copies of Tearlament Scream. Very important card to mill now that we can't search our traps. We want to make sure that we hit this in our combo, that way we can search for a copy of Sullik. We are still playing 3 copies of Primeval Planet Perlerino, just for the consistency. We are playing the 3 copies of Toy Vendor. I already explained this to you guys. I can't wait for you to see it in action. And that is it for these spells. Finishing things up, we are playing the 1 copy of Meta Noise. Not only is this just really good going into Kashtiria to be able to put things face down, but if you mill it, you can add cards back to your hand, which is very important because you could do something like mill a Shiren but not want to activate its effect yet, and then you can mill this, add the Shiren back to your hand, summon the Shiren to mill 3 more and get rid of a card in hand, and it just kind of lets you extend even further. And 2 copies of Sullik. Again, you're really going to want to send 1 off of the Foolish Burial Goods or mill 1, that way you can get a search, and the other one is to add an interruption onto your board. That's the main deck at 41 cards. Let's show you guys the extra. Now, there's not really anything spicy in the extra deck when you compare it to the main deck. It is going to look pretty cookie cutter as to what you're going to expect to see this format with people continuing to try and play Tearlament. We are going to have 1 of each of the fusions, so we've got Tearlaments Rolkalos and Tearlaments Kaleidoheart, and that is really going to be it for that. Next, we have a copy of Mud Dragon of the Swamp. This is a level 4 to get you in there when you need it, and you'll see why we need level 4s a little bit later on in the extra deck. We are playing the 1 copy of Winda because we have the small Shaddoll package, so we can end this or add this to our end board. We are playing the 1 copy of Predaplant Dragos Tapelia because it's just a good interruption, especially if you're fusing on your opponent's turn. And then the last fusion that we have is the new Grapha fusion, because since you're using the King of the Swamp, you can actually make this on your end board, and what it does is it turns any one of your opponent's effects into your opponent discards a card. Since you are your opponent's opponent, that means that their effect becomes you are discarding, so if you have any Tearlament name or anything in your hand that you want to discard to get an effect, their effect essentially just makes you plus off of it. So definitely a very, very good card, pretty much an Omni Negate, 3200, not easy to get over. We are playing 1 copy of Baronne de Fleur because the Diviner does become a level 6 tuner, and you'll actually see that come up in the combo that I'm going to show you guys. On to some XYZs, we are still playing the 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. We have 1 copy of Baguska and 1 copy of Redoer. This is why level 4s are important, because Abyss Dweller is really good into the mirror. Baguska is really good if you brick or get stopped, or if you need to make a Zeus, you can make this an attack and it can't be messed with, and therefore you get a free Zeus. And this lets you proc your Shiren if you have to summon it in order to mill. So the Shiren can go underneath it, you can activate the Redoer during either player's turn, and that will allow you to use the Shiren effect. And then we are playing 2 copies of Zeus. The reason for 2 is going into Kashtiria. They are going to rip cards out of your extra deck, so you want to make sure that you are able to keep a Zeus live. That way you can wipe their board, because Zeus is the best way to wipe their board. And finishing things off, we've got 1 Dark, 1 Sprint, and 1 Underworld Goddess. The Dark and Sprint should be self-explanatory. The Sprint is going to send the 1 copy of Merly we have left. And the Underworld Goddess is a tech choice because I believe with the hit 2 sprites, we are going to be seeing a lot more people go IP Masquerena into something like Avramax, and that is very hard for this deck to out, so the Underworld Goddess just kind of lets us get there. Let's go ahead and show you guys that combo. Alright guys, so I've never really done anything like this on the channel. I don't typically show replays from YGO Pro, but this was just me testing, so I want to show you guys. The reason it's cut off is because it was just me going against myself. There's nobody on the opponent's field, but in order for the program to work, I do have to have an opponent. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys what this combo does. And yeah, unfortunately with Tearlament, there's no really like 1 card combo. It really does depend on your mills. So I just want to show you guys the absolute ceiling of what this deck can do. And this was one of the cool replays that I was able to get testing this deck. There are plenty more, so don't think that this is just a one of shot. This deck is absolutely insane, and every hand that I drew got me into pretty much the same board, if not very close. Even if it wasn't the same board, it was still a very oppressive one. So let's go ahead and show you guys. So we're going to start things off here. Not really sure. We're going to normal summon the Diviner. That's going to go ahead and send the Agito so that we can mill 5. The Agito is going to mill 5, and that's going to activate both a Shiren and Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor is going to add the Bear, and the Shiren is going to fuse itself and the King of the Swamp into the Grapha Fusion. Going a little too fast for me to keep up with it, but you can see here that the Bear gets the Toy Vendor pitch Toy Vendor. I reveal the King of the Swamp and discard it, but the Toy Vendor can search me for a Wings. I can now use the effects of the Tearlament Kashtiria. It banishes one, and then I'll mill 3. I get to add the Shiren. The Shiren's going to be able to pitch the Wings and mill 3. I do mill the Shaddoll Beast, so I get my draw. I can then use the Shaddoll Wings to draw 2 and pop that and search a Bear. I can King of the Swamp into a Poly. Here I can go ahead and make the Baron. I can activate the Tearlament Scream. I can hard Poly into the window, which is going to then let me use the Havness and the Scream. I'm going to mill more. Using the Havness and the King of the Swamp, I go into the Roll Kalos, and that's the board, guys. Like, that's absolutely crazy. Look at that board. We have a Baron, a Winda, a Roll Kalos, and a Grapha Fusion. We do still have a card in hand, meaning that the Graph Fusion is live, and yeah, there you guys have it. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my Tearlaments Toy Vendor deck profile. I'm super hyped that I can show this to you guys because, like I said, it is my absolute favorite engine in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the utility that it adds by being able to draw and discard off of the Toy Vendor, not to mention that the Fluffle Wings get you more draws and adds, and you just get so much free advantage for absolutely no reason. I mean, you guys saw that end board, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I was very hesitant to post this with the YCS around the corner, but honestly, I just couldn't keep it from you guys, so I hope you did like it. If you did, you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with friends, maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.